Picture this. It's the 19th century. The scientific revolution is in full swing, and a new way of thinking pops up. It tries to answer life's biggest questions by mixing science, philosophy, and religion all together. It's called Spiritism, and it offers a pretty wild perspective on our place in the universe.
It really all begins with a question that I'm pretty sure we've all asked ourselves at some point. Why? Why is there so much suffering? Why are some people born with every advantage, while others are born into poverty and hardship? I mean, this is a question that has kept people up at night for thousands of years. So, in the middle of all this scientific discovery, a French educator, Hippolyte Léon Denisard Rival, decides he's going to take a shot at answering it. But here's the twist. His laboratory wasn't full of beakers and test tubes. Nope. He decided to use rigorous logic and reason on communications from a pretty controversial source, the spirit world. Now, to really get what he concluded, you first have to understand how he got there. This isn't about just blindly believing something. It's about a very systematic way of investigating. Rival, who later took on the name Allan Kardec, didn't see himself as a prophet or a mystic. He saw himself as a codifier, someone organizing a vast amount of information.
So, what is Spiritism anyway? Well, according to Kardec's own definition, it's really two things that are woven together. On one side, it's a science, a way to investigate the nature of spirits and how they connect with our world. On the other side, it's a moral philosophy that is built directly on what that investigation uncovered.
This quote right here, it gets to the absolute core of the whole doctrine. Kardec was not a fan of blind faith. He believed that if something is truly true, it should be able to stand up to logical questions, not just back then, but at any time in history. This idea of a reasoned faith is totally central to everything he did.
And here's how he actually put that into practice. He didn't just take one medium's word for it. No way. Instead, he gathered communications from all over the world, from tons of different mediums who had no way of contacting each other. Then he sifted through this mountain of data, looking for the ideas that came up again and again, consistently, everywhere. Only the principles that passed this logical, cross-reference test made it into the doctrine.
Okay, so what was the biggest, most fundamental idea that came out of this whole rigorous process? It was a completely different way of looking at the soul's journey. It was the idea of reincarnation, but with a twist. Reincarnation as the engine of progress.
The basic idea is that we are all immortal spirits, and this life right now is just one chapter in a very, very long book. We're on this epic educational journey, living many lives in all sorts of different circumstances, all for one main reason: to learn, to evolve, and to improve ourselves both in what we know and who we are morally. And this is how the doctrine tackles that huge question about suffering we started with. From this point of view, our current life is the direct result of stuff we did in past lives. The challenges we're facing aren't just random bad luck, they're the consequences of our own past choices, giving us exactly the lessons we need to learn. And every single thing we do now, we're planting the seeds for a future life.
Now just look at how different this is from other big worldviews. Materialism says, one life and you're done, lights out. Some traditional religions suggest you get one shot and then you're locked into heaven or hell forever. Spiritualism proposes a third path, a never-ending road of improvement. There's no eternal damnation. There's only the next chance to learn, to fix your mistakes, and to keep moving forward. And check out this detail because it's fascinating. The doctrine says the spirit isn't just a passive passenger in the body. It suggests that over many, many lives, the spirit is actively shaping its physical body, the brain, the nervous system, to be a better tool for expressing its growing abilities. It's kind of like a painter who keeps inventing better and better brushes to create a masterpiece.
Okay, so we've talked about the individual. Let's zoom out and look at the big picture. How does Spiritism see the universe? It imagines a cosmos that runs not on the whims of a deity, but on consistent, understandable, natural laws.
Which of course brings up the classic problem for any system that tries to bring science and spirituality together. What do you do with things that seem to break the laws of nature? What about miracles? The Spiritist answer is actually really simple and kind of elegant. It says there are no violations of natural law. There are only laws that we haven't discovered yet. So what we call supernatural isn't unnatural at all. It's just a phenomenon operating on principles that our current science just doesn't understand yet. So all these phenomena, visions, sudden healings, seeing apparitions, they aren't seen as miracles. They're considered natural, even if they're rare.
They're just the result of the spiritual world interacting with our material world, and they follow their own set of laws. Laws about energy and fluids that we just can't measure yet. All right, so if the universe runs on laws, and our goal is to get better morally, then what's the instruction manual? Well, for Kardec, the clearest, most direct guide for how to live was right there in the moral teachings of Jesus. And this is a really important point. Spiritualism makes a clear separation between the ethical message of Jesus and all the theological debates and dogma that grew up around it. It focuses only on the moral teachings, seeing them as a universal blueprint for spiritual growth that can apply to anyone from any culture or religion.
And it all comes down to this. This is the foundation. The entire moral system of Spiritism is built on this one principle, an active, practical love for other people. That's seen as the ultimate law of the universe when it comes to progress.
And building on that foundation, you get these key virtues you're supposed to develop. And notice, they're all focused on other people, charity, forgiveness, being patient with others' mistakes. Progress isn't about some secret ritual. It's about how you treat the people around you every single day.
So where is all of this supposed to be going? What's the endgame for humanity's long and often difficult journey? Spiritism offers a hopeful vision for our collective future.
The doctrine draws this stark contrast. Intellectually, my gosh, we've gone to the moon, we've created the internet, our progress is incredible. But morally, it suggests we're still way, way behind. The next great challenge for humanity isn't exploring outer space, it's exploring inner space. It's developing compassion and true solidarity. And this big change isn't going to happen with a bang, no big apocalypse. It's meant to be a gradual generational shift. As humanity evolves, the Earth itself becomes a more advanced kind of school, and it starts to attract more morally developed spirits to be born here, and they, in turn, help slowly raise the moral average for everyone.
And that leaves us with this final and pretty challenging thought. According to this doctrine, the real roadblocks to a better world aren't our political systems or our economies. Those are just symptoms. The real root of the problem is inside us. It's selfishness and pride. The real revolution, spiritualism says, has to happen inside the human heart.